Are high-interest credit cards or personal loans weighing you down? Unlock gives homeowners a smarter option. With a home equity agreement, you can tap into your home's equity for cash today. There are no monthly payments. Here's how it works. Unlock provides funds upfront and in exchange, shares in a portion of your home's future value. That means you keep control with the flexibility to use your equity your way. Pay off bills, invest in home improvements, or set aside savings for peace of mind. For thousands of homeowners, Unlock has been the key to moving forward without the pressure of another payment. Put your equity to work for you. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
Have you ever had one of those moments where you outsmart yourself so hard it loops back around to dumb? That's today's episode, but make it criminal. Welcome back to Don't Quote Me, It's Probably Nothing, the podcast where on Tuesdays I celebrate humanity's boldest, dumbest moments, one bad decision at a time. I'm Kelly, and this week's True Crime Tuesday is all about the so-called masterminds, the criminal prodigies who forgot step one of genius, actually having a plan. We're diving into 4 cases so baffling you'll be grateful your worst ideas never made it past the group chat. Let's get into it. Well, before I get into it, I just want to say that this is my second time recording this because, I don't know, something happened with my computer the first time. So if you hear snoring and like other weird noises, it's my dog and Jim sleeping because I record this in my bedroom and it's after 10 o'clock at night. Also, I had some funny jokes and stories in the last one, and I'm probably not even going to tell them this time because I don't know if it'll happen. Also, when I said welcome back to Don't Quote Me, It's Probably Nothing, I think I accidentally said welcome instead of welcome. And my apologies for that. Sometimes, well, you know, when I'm high, sometimes I take on accents. And a little while before this, I had to stop myself from wanting to talk like Kim Jong-il in Team America, because I quote that movie often. And in a box to your left. Will I get canceled for doing that? For saying that? Is that wrong? My bad. Sorry if it's wrong. All right, so picture this. You're 22 years old, deep into the world of crypto. You've watched one too many heist movies, you have a half-charged phone, and your loyalty points are burning a hole in your digital wallet. Naturally, you think, you know what would solve my problems? A multi-state kidnapping plot. Enter James Schwab, the Georgia man who recently decided to combine crypto theft, identity fraud, and kidnapping into one single awful PowerPoint presentation of bad decisions. So allegedly, I have to say allegedly because lawyers exist, but allegedly, Schwab was connected to this massive $230 million crypto theft. But instead of just, I don't know, fleeing to a tropical island, Clarabelle just snored. Instead of fleeing to a tropical island or changing his name to like Jimothy Coins, he decided the next logical step was kidnapping a couple in Connecticut. So the plan, genius, for real. In the same way that drinking hot sauce to cure strep throat is genius. So he believed that the couple's son had stolen money from him during that big crypto scheme. So he hired a few guys from Florida and flew them up north. And then here's where it gets even better. So he used stolen credit cards and hotel loyalty points to cover their travel. Like, my guy really said, nothing suspicious about me redeeming my Marriott Bonvoy free night bonus for a felony. Anyway, they pull up in Danbury, Connecticut for like some Ocean's 11 stuff, but it was more like Ocean's 0.5. So the whole thing falls apart almost immediately. The FBI connects Schwab's alias to the same identity he used to book the flights and the hotel rooms because, plot twist, when you're committing a federal crime, your frequent flyer number is not your friend. So now Schwab's facing life in prison on kidnapping, conspiracy, and identity theft charges, allegedly. I've been trying to finish. I don't know why I'm whispering. Well, I'm whispering because they're sleeping, but I've been trying to like finish this next part. But Clarabelle and Jim are both they're both snoring at the same time. The last time this happened was when I was asleep and Clarabelle was a little itty bitty cutie patootie puppy, and we had her cage in our room and she was sleeping and she snored. Oh my gosh, it's so loud, for real. And she was snoring, and then a couple of seconds later, Jim would snore, and it was so bad that I literally had a dream that helicopters were crashing. Okay, so our next criminal mastermind isn't just a criminal. He's a criminology PhD student. Well, was. So this is the only time I'm going to say his name too. So meet Brian Koberger, the guy who literally studied how to profile criminals, outsmart law enforcement, and analyze forensic evidence, and then walk straight into every rookie mistake possible. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the case. He is accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in 22, which I just want to say was like a horrific crime, and those poor students lost their lives because this guy's a butthole. But this isn't about the horror of what happened. This is about the fact that the man supposedly studying how not to get caught got caught in every way imaginable. So let's break down the mastermind plan, shall we? And yes, I used air quotes for mastermind. So he allegedly used his own car, a white Hyundai Elantra, which is the same one the police were asking the entire country to look for because, well, that's the car he used. But step 1 of Criminology 101. Switch vehicles. He also turned his phone off during the time of the murders, which, okay, you thought you were smart, but he turned it on right after while he was in the same area. So, do with that what you will. And the piece de resistance, which I don't know if I said that right, but I don't know. It sounded like a good thing to do in the moment. I hope my French was okay, assuming that's French. Is that French? Maybe. Anyway, he left his DNA on the knife sheath at the crime scene. Thankfully, he did, though, so that he can spend the rest of his life in jail. Anyway, so this man was like writing papers about forensic evidence and then personally submitted a sample like it was extra credit. He even cleaned his car meticulously afterward, which, yeah, okay, but when you detail your car so obsessively that investigators notice it's cleaner than a hospital hallway, that's also suspicious. He might have been getting his doctorate, but he graduated from summa cum dum laude. That was a good one. I cracked myself up. Anyway, this case is dark and awful in every way, but what gets me is the irony. So, like, imagine being the professor grading his thesis proposal titled, like, Understanding Criminal Decision Making, but, like, he's about to become the case study. I didn't want to keep saying his name because I don't want him to, get the recognition for what he did. But he thought he was smarter than everyone and ended up proving that education can't fix arrogance. You can study crime all you want, but if you forget that Google saves everything, your degree doesn't stand a chance.
On the eve of Halloween, San Francisco becomes the stage for Hitchcock's haunting masterpiece, Vertigo, with live orchestra, October 30th. Experience the film's mystery and suspense on the big screen as the San Francisco Symphony performs the music live. Don't miss Vertigo with live orchestra, October 30th at the San Francisco Symphony. Tickets at sfsymphony.org. Rated PG.
All right, it's time for a Florida story. Also, I love Florida, but it's wild sometimes. So, meet Caden Spate. Might also be Spite, but I think it's Spate. Anyway, he's a 17-year-old from Florida who decided one day, you know what'll really shake things up? I am going to fake my own kidnapping. So this teenage mutant mastermind texted his family saying he'd been shot and abducted, which, is already a lot to process before your morning coffee. Now, naturally, his family panicked. Law enforcement launched an Amber Alert. Helicopters were deployed. Half the state went looking for him. Basically, Florida turned into a live-action CSI episode overnight. And then they found him. Alone with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the leg. Like, he literally shot himself to make it look real. But there are other methods. Like, you can use ketchup, fake blood, a Sharpie. I don't know, something other than, like, shooting yourself in the leg. I mean, sure, I guess to make it believable, but I don't know. I would have went with the ketchup, I think. But yeah, I don't know. This guy, he looked at his leg and thought, yeah, I don't need this leg to work anymore. So investigators said he'd done research ahead of time, like full-on Google searches for things like how to make a kidnapping look real, cartel abduction, and my personal favorite, painless blood loss, which I think he realized that shooting yourself in the leg wasn't as painless as he may have thought. But he even tried to stage the scene. He put a bullet hole in the car and drag marks like the whole cinematic production. But not gonna lie, I'm honestly a little impressed at the commitment. But when police asked why, he apparently said he just wanted attention. But like, there's attention and then there's federal investigation attention. Like, you just skipped the local news and went straight to the FBI. But needless to say, he's facing a lot of charges for filing false reports, using state resources, and just general chaos. If you ever feel like faking your own kidnapping for attention, maybe, I don't know, post like a vague lyric on your Instagram story like the rest of us. Also, speaking of posting vague lyrics, so like, I'm what they call a millennial, I think, right? I don't know. I'm 37, so whatever like that would be. But the internet's like a wild place. So I remember like the AIM days. My screen name was RadX is X Plaid, and that's because Plaid is Rad was taken. But I remember like posting like lyric in like my profile bio, and then as like an away message. And it would be so emo for sure. Like the one time I literally put, "You could slit my throat and I'd apologize for bleeding on your shirt." Like, shout out to Taking Back Sunday. What a wild time to be alive. Also, I don't even think that was a unique experience just to me, because I think everybody used those lyrics. Okay, so next we're heading to Brooklyn for this one, and nothing screams criminal mastermind like robbing a bank with no bomb, no backup, and no common sense. Meet Indiana Moen, a 23-year-old man who strolled into a Bank of America in Williamsburg at 10:30 in the morning, peak hours, just in case subtlety was ever an option, and he slides a note to the teller that reads, "This is a robbery. There is a bomb strapped to my chest that's remotely controlled. Fill the bag with large bills only. No silent alarm." First, I want to pause because this reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where he goes to rob the bank and he's like, "Put the money in the bag." And he's like facing the wrong way. Anyway, if you ever start a crime with a note that could double as a bad middle school play script, then it's already over. So the teller freezes, obviously, because bomb threat. But there was no bomb. Nothing. Not even a cardboard box with duct tape and an LED light. He just made it up. And then when police later asked what his plan was, if they called his bluff, he said he didn't have one. So no bomb, no plan, no getaway vehicle. And he demanded cash, got spooked halfway through, and then ran out of the bank empty-handed. Then, I can't even make this up. Okay, so then he fled to a nearby New York City Housing Authority building and just like hung out in the hallway. He didn't even try to blend in. He didn't like change clothes, didn't even pretend to be like a delivery guy. He was just there. And the police caught him within the hour. And when he was questioned, he told them he didn't really want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to make a statement. Like, sir, the only statement you made is like, "I am no good at this." And the wild part is that he actually faces up to 25 years in prison for attempted robbery and making terroristic threats. All that, and he didn't even get $1. I'm sorry, I can't do it too loud because they're sleeping. But court is in session because it's time for the Docket of Dumb.
Are you ready to finally make that dream a reality? Maybe it's updating your kitchen, paying down high-interest credit cards, or covering tuition. Your home is more than where you live. It's also your most powerful asset. At Unlock, we make it simple to turn equity into options. With a home equity agreement, you can access cash today without taking on monthly payments. Imagine the freedom to invest in your home, reduce financial stress, or finally start that big project you've been putting off. It's your home. It's your future. Unlock it today. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
And this week's docket is like overflowing with crime. So dumb. Even Florida said, we can't claim that one. Which, speaking of court, I had to go to traffic court today because my registration was expired on my car because it was like this whole thing. But anyway, I thought that was fitting that, I don't know, I went to court today, but all the charges were dismissed. Also, I was talking to someone earlier, and like, if I had to come up with a name, if I like had a misdemeanor or something, I know like it's not my name, but I think I'd want to be called like Missy Kelliot. Get it? Instead of Missy Elliott, it's Missy Kelliot. A woman in Colorado tried to dodge traffic fines by driving in the carpool lane with a skeleton in her passenger seat. An Arkansas man was arrested for stealing an entire rotisserie chicken from Walmart, then trying to return it half-eaten for store credit. In North Carolina, a man broke into his ex-girlfriend's apartment to steal the engagement ring he'd given her, but she was home. In Indiana, a pair of burglars tried to make their getaway from Dollar General, but ran out of gas. In Texas, a man broke into a neighbor's home wearing only a cowboy hat and claimed to be a ninja of the night. And that concludes this week's Docket of Dumb, reminding us all that common sense isn't that common. Well, that wraps up another True Crime Tuesday, the episode where we learn that mastermind apparently just means had an idea once. I had a dream once. Do you guys know what that's from? It's from Tangled, in case you were wondering, which I think you should all go watch Tangled now. Thank you for hanging out, spiraling, and laughing with me, hopefully laughing with me, through another week of chaos. If you haven't already, hit follow, subscribe, or whatever button keeps me whispering dumb crimes into your ear holes every Tuesday. You can also catch the show on Nighthawk Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere people still pretend to multitask. I'll be back Friday with more weirdness because this brain doesn't rest. The song of the week is It's About Money by Capture This. Go stream it wherever you listen to your music. Until then, stay weird, stay curious, and if you ever think you're the smartest person in the room, just remember, so did these guys.
Back in a corner when you couldn't win a fight. Sorry, I doesn't cut it when you say you're always right. I'm so sick of it, a hypocrite. I'm your favorite game, lose all the fame. I'm gonna play the board until I win my way. Go away, bury it in your grave. I can't take it.
Experience the passion of Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th through 26th. Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto has become one of the most beloved works in the repertoire, radiant and unforgettably alive. Shostakovich's Symphony No. 8 confronts us with raw power and haunting beauty. Together, these works form a concert of passion, struggle, and triumph. David Afcom conducts Tchaikovsky and Shostakovich with the San Francisco Symphony, October 24th to 26th. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.